I mean, speaking of keeping it in football, one of my favorite football players ever, the first football player that I knew who he was, Brett Favre. Like, he was the first celebrity football player as a child. I was born in '89, so maybe around '94 when I first kind of started watching football. Brett Favre was the first guy that I was a fan of. Like, he was the first one I was like, oh, I want to see him play this game. So, Brett Favre has been recently in the news because he's trying to get a bill passed to make it illegal to have tackling football to youths under the age of 12.
It's amazing.
Which to me is like, I just want to give him as much hand play, like applause, standing ovation for that particular thing. And he's not saying that they shouldn't play football; they just shouldn't be tackling, which I completely agree with. Like, and it's not that we're saying to stop youth from ever being able to play football at that age or before the age of 12. No, you can just play flag football. There's no reason. You can still learn a lot of the techniques that will make you a good football player later on without the tackling, because your body's not formulated yet. Your brain can't handle hits. Like, you're going to be concussed at a higher rate before you're age 16 than when you get old enough to understand how to take hits. So there's no reason for them to be hitting at those ages at all. And the fact that Brett Favre was able to now try to make this a law where the federal government will get involved, I think this is great coming from Brett Favre, who played the most consecutive games, like has had some of the most concussions of anybody that played through a lot of that.
It's like the Allen Iverson of football.
Exactly.
He's had injuries everywhere.
So if he's
played through all of it.
If he's saying that on the youth side they shouldn't be taking hits, he's probably the best poster child to try to get this bill passed.
And he's always been known as an underrated player. So he's known like how certain players has to grind in there. So he's like, yo, I've been that grinder.
Yeah.
And known that, like, yo, I've gotten rocked.
Correct. And most people don't even know what Brett Favre's career. He was drafted on the back end of the first round by the Atlanta Falcons. And then by the time, like, never got a chance. He even tells, like, they never even tried to develop me. They said, oh, kid got a big arm. We'll throw him in there and see what he can do. It's like they never had
first play was a pick, and they just
and they trade him to the Packers. And it's like he met the guy that eventually would develop him. It was like, he had a plan for me. He had an idea of what I could do. He had a scheme in which would make my talents where I could finally go out there and just extend the play and use my big arm. I could fit a ball anywhere. But it's just to keep the play alive until I could get somebody open. It's like they made it perfect where the receivers would actually know that's what I'm doing. But that's a plan. And that's how now Brett Favre's talents were able to be fully maximized. But if you look at his original team that drafted him, had no plan. It was like, oh, he was the best talent on the board. He has a big arm. We'll take him. It's not going to work. But to the point that he's making with the whole football, I completely agree. I think, like, this would be a great thing to come out. This would be a great thing again where it's like, you can even go up to, I've heard people say 14. They're up to 14, they don't need to hit. It'll be a nice way to, like, further the game of football and start to make it a little bit safer for everybody playing the game.
And I think it makes you even smarter because it's like now you allow these kids to really pay attention to what they're doing. Like I think you'll get players playing more longer and more longevity. Like you might cut that CTE situation going on.
Drop a lot of these injuries that they get from just like not really knowing what they're doing or even hurting their body before it was even developed. A lot of time you take a hit and you start to like get bones broken or bones a little bit loose from those 12, 13 when you don't even know that it's just you thinking it's a soreness. But in reality you have like a chip fracture in your elbow.
And then it grows different.
Exactly. So
because
now,
you're still developing your body.
So that now turns into a completely torn tendon when you're 23 and you don't realize why was my tendon so weak. Well yeah, you had basically been chipping away at that since you was 13. So I think a lot of injuries can start to take back. A lot of other things can like improve football in general with this particular law goes into place. Yeah. So shout out to Brett Favre and shout out to like this rule.
Shout out to that completely. That's a dope. That's amazing. I really do hope anything to make the sport better and safer I'm all for it. And I think that's a dope. I really do. They really take that into hard consideration, especially being that type of player he was.
Right.
I think it should really be really thought on. Should be really mentioned.
Right. So, shout out to Brett Favre. We'll see how that works out.